Welcome to another episode of PI Clips. Today we are going to talk about what do private investigators do? And I'm just going to go through a quick list of the 20 top things that private investigators do in their profession. The first is surveillance, which is most commonly known for a lot of people. Private investigators will go out and follow individuals to gather information on them, gather evidence and information on them. They'll also do background checks, which includes doing research on an individual, research on their past, employment history, personal references, different things like that. And then there's infidelity investigations, of course, gathering evidence of an extramarital affair, and various other things. And that may include things like doing surveillance and backgrounds. And then there's missing persons cases. A lot of PIs will do missing person cases, whether it's a child that ran away or maybe it's a family member that's been estranged for a while, and then we'll often call those a welfare check kind of a investigation. And then there's insurance claims investigations. Well, most of those will usually involve some kind of surveillance. They don't always have surveillance. Sometimes it's just going out and taking pictures and doing some interviews. There's corporate espionage investigations. This is a very specialized area, corporate espionage investigations. Not everybody, not every PI is going to go out and do that. There's employee theft investigations. We've done a lot of those in my company. Where we would go out and we would interview people. We may review security cameras and different things like that. May also include some surveillance as well. Witness interviews is really big for many types of cases, whether it's insurance fraud investigations or criminal defense investigations. PIs will go out and do a lot of witness interviewing. And evidence collection, usually in evidence collection, though, that's going to be photographic and video evidence. It's not necessarily going to be going out and looking for that smoking gun. In most jurisdictions, private investigators, well, we're obviously not the police, so it's very difficult for us, and a lot of times not even legal for us, to take into custody physical evidence. There's vehicle tracking, and in some states, a private investigator may be able to get away with using a GPS tracker to track a person's vehicle, but there's also vehicle tracking with some of the new databases and stuff like that out there now. I have access to some of those where I can pop in a license plate number or particular information about a vehicle, and then it can track where it's been and where it may be right now, or at least a general idea. Undercover operations, this is what a lot of people think private investigators do. And sometimes with surveillance and different things like that, we do get involved in some undercover operations. Online investigations, what people often refer to as OSINT, or open source intelligence investigations, is getting to be a really big area where most private investigators start their investigations today. And then there's criminal records checks. A lot of private investigators will get started doing criminal records checks, pulling up all those court cases, pulling up their State Bureau of Investigation and different areas like that. Case analysis, we have a lot of clients where we have done case analysis where they send us everything and then we analyze it, we go through all the data, and we decide, is this worthy of opening a full investigation? Employment screening is another one, kind of like involved with background checks. A PI needs to be very careful when they're doing employment screening because there's only certain things that can be reported, and that's usually dictated not only by federal law but also by state law. And then there's litigation support. A lot of attorneys will keep a PI on retainer for that litigation support. And then asset searches, looking for physical assets, cars, boats, planes, things like that, as well as looking into financial assets in different areas of that kind of an asset investigation. And then counter surveillance. If a private investigator does a lot of surveillance, well, they should probably be offering counter surveillance too, because they already know how surveillance is conducted. And along with that regular counter surveillance is TSCM, or technical surveillance countermeasures. That is something that requires very specialized equipment. My company does quite a bit of that. And that is the top list of the things that private investigators do. Thank you so much for visiting PI Clips. Go down and hit that thumbs up for me, hit that subscribe, and don't forget to check out my regular channel, the PI Guy, for full training videos.